Working with powerful people often looks like big money and fast success. But what many don't realize is that chasing profit at any cost can drag innocent people into dark, dangerous systems they never agreed to be part of. History shows that when money becomes the only goal, identities are misused, lives are destroyed, and ordinary people pay the price while others hide behind influence and power. This is why staying alert, protecting your name, understanding your value, and choosing integrity over shortcuts matters more than ever. No matter how unfair the system feels, knowledge, awareness, and discipline are tools that keep you safe and moving forward. Focus on building clean success, legal growth, and long-term stability, because real power is not quick money, but control over your own life and future. If this message makes you think differently, hit like, subscribe, so we can reach 5,000 subscribers, and comment Mr. Ledger to show you're committed to staying smart, strong, and focused on a better path forward. In today's world, your value isn't always measured by what you earn or achieve, but by what others can gain from your existence. Every interaction, every connection, every seemingly insignificant decision can be leveraged by someone with influence and capital. You might think that your daily life is small, contained, and private, but in reality, someone is always calculating the potential profit you represent, often without your knowledge. The stakes are higher than most realize, and even a casual association can translate into billions for the right players. It's a sobering thought that simply being in the right or wrong place at the right time can draw you into deals that you didn't even consent to. In elite circles, your identity can become a tool, a name on a contract, a key witness in a larger narrative, or even collateral in a hidden game. And here's the paradox. The more unaware you are, the more valuable you become to those who operate in shadows, far from the eyes of the ordinary world. Big money moves quietly, invisibly, but it touches lives profoundly. Stories abound of ordinary people suddenly finding themselves connected to high-stakes business deals, legal battles, or even crimes, simply because they were in the wrong circle at the wrong time. The lesson is clear. Understanding your influence, your exposure, and the value others may assign to you is not arrogance, it's survival. In the corridors of power, people are rarely seen as humans with dreams, fears, and lives. They are assets. The world's elite often reduce human beings to numbers on spreadsheets, possibilities for profit, or leverage in negotiations that will affect thousands, sometimes millions of lives. This detachment is chilling, yet it is the reality of systems built to prioritize influence over integrity. Those at the top often make decisions that ripple outward without a second thought for the lives caught in the waves. Consider the stories of whistleblowers and investigative journalists. Countless individuals have been exploited or erased, not because they did anything wrong, but because someone with more power viewed them as a pawn. Your presence, your skills, or even your silence can be converted into something that serves someone else's agenda. Awareness is key, because when you're seen as an asset, ignorance is dangerous. And yet, this isn't a call for fear, it's a call to clarity. When power reduces you to a resource, the most valuable weapon you have is self-knowledge. Knowing your worth outside of the system's calculations, asserting your boundaries, and recognizing manipulative tactics are the only ways to protect yourself from becoming just another statistic in a world obsessed with control and profit. Dirty money has a way of moving silently, leaving footprints that most never see. When profits are made through corruption, manipulation, or exploitation, the cost is rarely measured in dollars alone. It's measured in lives disrupted, reputations destroyed, and moral decay that spreads like a virus. For the ordinary person unknowingly entangled in these transactions, the consequences can be catastrophic. A simple association with the wrong deal can lead to legal trouble, social ruin, or worse. It's easy to think of money as neutral, a tool, but in elite systems, money carries the weight of human consequences. For every $1 million deal quietly brokered in a boardroom or political office, there are countless lives indirectly damaged. Families lose homes, careers are obliterated, and identities are compromised. The allure of profit blinds those who control it to the suffering left in its wake, and the people caught in the crossfire often never even knew the game was being played. Awareness is the antidote to exploitation. Understanding that money, power, and influence have hidden costs allows you to navigate the world with more caution, protecting not just your assets, but your very life. When you see beyond the glitter of wealth and the charm of opportunity, you gain a crucial advantage: the ability to choose where you stand and what you will tolerate. The most frightening reality is that danger often comes wrapped in normalcy. An ordinary name, a simple online profile, a casual acquaintance. Any of these can become the link that pulls you into high-stakes situations you never asked for. History is filled with examples of innocent people drawn into criminal conspiracies, financial scandals, and political cover-ups, simply because they happen to intersect with someone powerful. This isn't paranoia, it's a matter of probability. Power seeks connections, leverage, and exposure, and ordinary people are easy targets precisely because they are unaware of the forces circling around them. Every small interaction has the potential to connect you to something larger than life, something dangerous, without you ever realizing it. The invisible web of influence and exploitation moves quickly, silently, and efficiently. The lesson here is stark. Vigilance isn't optional, it's essential. Knowing how your personal information, your reputation, and even your habits can be exploited is the first step in breaking the chain. Ordinary names may seem harmless, but in the wrong context, they can become the key players in stories that could define or destroy lives. In the modern world, your identity is more valuable than gold, stock, or real estate. Hackers, corporations, and political operatives alike recognize that personal information is the ultimate leverage. Names, addresses, social connections, financial history, all of it can be traded, stolen, or manipulated for enormous gain. Every detail about you can become currency in a marketplace that you don't even see. Identity theft isn't just about money, it's about control. Those who exploit your identity can dictate how you are perceived, what opportunities you receive, and even how the law or financial systems interact with you. Your life becomes a tool, an investment, or a target. Millions have discovered too late that their identities were leveraged in ways that harmed them personally, professionally, and emotionally. Protecting yourself requires more than caution. It requires strategy. Strong passwords, careful social media usage, and an understanding of the ways your personal data can be exploited are basic, but the real defense is awareness. Knowledge about how your identity is used and who might benefit from it is the difference between vulnerability and empowerment in a world obsessed with data. One of the most unsettling truths about power is that participation is often assumed without consent. Systems manipulate, coerce, and leverage individuals without ever asking permission. You may live your life in good faith, contributing to society, working honestly, and never thinking twice. Yet, the system might still pull strings in your name, make agreements using your identity, or place you in situations where you have no control. Countless cases exist where people found themselves unwittingly connected to corporate scandals, legal suits, or even criminal investigations. You never applied to play, yet suddenly you are in the game. This lack of agency is terrifying, but it is also a call to vigilance. Understanding the systems around you and being proactive in protecting your name is crucial. The key is empowerment through awareness. By knowing the ways in which your presence, identity, and actions can be exploited, you can reclaim some measure of control. It's not about fear, it's about preparation. The world doesn't wait for consent, but that doesn't mean you can't act deliberately, defend yourself, and establish boundaries that safeguard your life and reputation. Behind closed doors, deals are made that shape economies, control politics, and decide the fate of ordinary lives. These negotiations are silent, invisible, and often incomprehensible to those they affect most. While the public sees only headlines or hears only rumors, the real power moves quietly. Contracts signed, assets transferred, and obligations assumed, often with your name somewhere in the margins, unknown to you. The consequences of these hidden deals are rarely subtle. A single signature in a boardroom, a single manipulation of data, or a silent agreement between powerful individuals can ripple outward to destroy reputations, livelihoods, and sometimes entire communities. Ordinary people rarely see the mechanism behind the impact, yet they feel the weight of decisions they had no part in making. The lesson is unavoidable. Vigilance is survival. Understanding that deals happen without your knowledge and that the consequences can be monumental forces you to pay attention to even the smallest details of your personal and professional life. Awareness becomes armor. Knowledge becomes influence over how your story unfolds, even in a world that often seeks to use you as a pawn. Life isn't fair. Even if you act with integrity, honesty, and decency, that doesn't guarantee immunity from the machinations of power. Innocence, though morally comforting, can't shield you from systems designed to exploit or manipulate without consent. Often, the very qualities that make a person trustworthy, transparency, kindness, naivety, can make them targets in a world where cynicism rules. Countless real-life examples illustrate this harsh reality. Whistleblowers, innocent bystanders, and unknowing employees have faced ruin simply because their lives intersected with someone else's ambition or greed. The world rarely compensates innocence with protection. Instead, it often punishes those least equipped to fight back. Recognizing that innocence is not a shield is the first step toward true safety. Your best defense is awareness, preparation, and strategic thinking. By understanding the hidden currents of influence and manipulation, you can navigate life in a way that keeps your integrity intact while minimizing the risks that come from simply being good in a world that doesn't always reward it. Awareness isn't just a personal advantage, it's a matter of survival. In a world where hidden agendas, covert deals, and unspoken power dynamics control outcomes, staying informed and alert can mean the difference between thriving and being exploited. Knowledge of your environment, the people around you, and the systems in play empowers you to make decisions consciously rather than reactively. Consider the ways ordinary individuals have been drawn into financial or legal chaos without ever realizing it. Had they known more about the structures they were navigating, many could have avoided disaster. Awareness allows you to identify manipulation, recognize risk, and take action before it's too late. In a sense, it's the ultimate form of self-respect. It says you value yourself enough to understand the world you live in. Furthermore, awareness fosters confidence. When you know the game exists, you no longer act blindly or allow others to dictate your fate. You cultivate foresight, resilience, and strategic thinking, qualities that the powerful often assume ordinary people lack. By making awareness a practice, you arm yourself with the tools to survive, thrive, and maintain autonomy in even the most dangerous circumstances. History repeatedly shows that the most vulnerable bear the heaviest burdens of corruption, greed, and systemic exploitation. While elites make decisions that generate massive profits, the consequences rarely impact their wealth or safety. Instead, ordinary citizens, often without power, voice, or representation, suffer displacement, financial loss, and sometimes physical danger. From housing crises to environmental disasters, from financial scams to corporate malfeasance, the evidence is everywhere. When profit is prioritized above humanity, it's the powerless who pay the price. The consequences are not abstract. They are real, measurable, and devastating, impacting families, communities, and lives for generations. Understanding this dynamic is vital. It isn't just about being cautious. It's about recognizing the structures that operate against your interests so that you can protect yourself and advocate for justice. Awareness is the first step in refusing to be collateral in someone else's pursuit of wealth and power. Powerful systems function best when the majority of people are uninformed, confused, or disengaged. Silence and ignorance are not accidents. They are cultivated tools designed to maintain control. Complex bureaucracy, opaque contracts, and hidden agendas created environments where ordinary individuals struggle to understand what is happening around them, leaving them vulnerable to exploitation. The world is full of examples where confusion was weaponized, legal loopholes trapping the unwary, financial systems that exploit the uninformed, and policies that benefit the elite while masking their impact on the public. When people remain silent or uninformed, power consolidates, and ordinary lives are left to bear the consequences. The antidote is clarity. By asking questions, seeking understanding, and refusing to accept ambiguity as inevitable, you disrupt the advantage that power derives from silence. Knowledge transforms confusion into strategy, and awareness transforms vulnerability into empowerment. The system may hope for your ignorance, but your vigilance can be a force it cannot ignore. True strength does not come from wealth, influence, or physical power. It comes from understanding the rules of the world you inhabit. Awareness of manipulation, exploitation, and hidden agendas is the foundation of resilience. Only by recognizing that these games exist can you prepare yourself, protect your life, and navigate challenges with intelligence and foresight. Knowing the game is a form of empowerment. Once you understand how power operates, you are no longer a passive participant. You begin to anticipate moves, identify risks, and act strategically rather than reactively. Strength grows not from confrontation alone, but from insight, discipline, and the ability to remain calm amidst chaos. Ultimately, knowledge of the system allows you to reclaim agency over your life. The world may attempt to use, exploit, or ignore you. But when you see the game, you are no longer defenseless. You become a participant on your own terms, a person who can survive, thrive, and protect what truly matters. Your reputation is one of your most valuable assets. In a world where identities are manipulated and information is commodified, your name can become the single point of leverage used against you. Protecting it is not vanity, it's survival. A tarnished reputation can affect your career, relationships, financial stability, and even your freedom. Countless stories exist of individuals whose lives were upended because of identity theft, slander, or hidden manipulation. A name misused can drag someone into legal battles, ruin professional credibility, or expose them to threats they never anticipated. The modern world does not forgive ignorance when it comes to safeguarding your identity. The responsibility is clear. Treat your name as a fortress. Monitor how it is used, defend your digital presence, and take proactive measures to ensure it cannot be weaponized. When you protect your identity with the seriousness it deserves, you gain not just security, but confidence, autonomy, and the power to stand undiminished in the face of systemic challenges. Complacency is dangerous. The moment you assume the world will operate fairly, that others will respect your life, or that ignorance will not cost you is the moment you open the door to exploitation. Power moves quickly, silently, and decisively, and those who fail to notice until it's too late often pay a heavy price. The key to survival is vigilance, observing patterns, questioning motives, and taking proactive steps to safeguard yourself is not paranoia. It's prudence. Damage is rarely preventable after the fact. It must be anticipated, avoided, and neutralized before it strikes. Waking up means more than just noticing danger. It means taking responsibility for your safety, your identity, and your life. Awareness gives you the ability to act deliberately, defend your interests, and protect what truly matters. In a world where threats are often invisible, consciousness is the most powerful shield you can possess. True power is not something given. It is claimed. It begins the moment you refuse to be a tool for someone else's gain. The moment you assert control over your life, your choices, and your identity. Those who manipulate systems, extract wealth, and exploit trust rely on passive compliance. Refusal to comply is the first step in reclaiming autonomy. Power grows from awareness, courage, and discipline. When you recognize the ways others may attempt to use you, and when you take deliberate actions to protect yourself, you create a sphere of influence that cannot be ignored. This form of power is subtle but profound. It ensures that you are no longer invisible, no longer expendable, and no longer defenseless. Ultimately, refusing to be used is a declaration of humanity. It's a commitment to yourself, your values, and your life. In a world designed to exploit the unaware, choosing autonomy, asserting boundaries, and protecting your identity is the truest form of power imaginable. Most people live their lives unaware of the invisible forces directing their choices, opinions, and even relationships. Governments, corporations, and hidden networks wield subtle influence over our routines, finances, and personal beliefs. You may feel free, independent, and in control, but many decisions you make are nudged by systems designed to benefit someone else. These forces are often invisible because they operate quietly, using psychology, data, and social structures as their tools. From targeted advertisements to news framing, the manipulation is constant, and the consequences are real. Millions unknowingly comply, thinking they are making autonomous choices, while their lives are quietly steered toward someone else's advantage. Recognizing these invisible forces is the first step toward reclaiming agency. Awareness allows you to pause, question, and make conscious decisions rather than unconsciously following paths laid out by unseen hands. Understanding the hidden mechanics of influence transforms fear into empowerment and passivity into control. Loyalty is a virtue, but in a corrupt system, it can become a weapon used against you. Many individuals suffer because they trust too easily, remain committed to institutions, or dedicate themselves to causes without realizing that their devotion is being exploited. Loyalty without awareness becomes a form of currency for those who thrive on manipulation. From workplaces to personal relationships, countless examples exist of loyal people being discarded, misrepresented, or betrayed for someone else's gain. They are praised when useful, but forgotten when inconvenient. The tragedy lies not in betrayal itself, but in the realization that their loyalty was never reciprocated, and they paid a steep emotional and material price. The antidote is discernment. True loyalty must be paired with understanding, observation, and boundaries. By recognizing where your dedication is valued versus where it is manipulated, you can maintain integrity while avoiding exploitation. Loyalty becomes strength when guided by awareness, not blind trust. Red flags appear long before disaster strikes, yet most people ignore them, thinking the warnings are exaggerated, irrelevant, or uncomfortable to acknowledge. Ignorance is often convenient, but in the world of power, it's costly. Small signs of deception, manipulation, or danger often precede large consequences, and failing to act early magnifies the damage. Every high-profile scandal, financial collapse, or personal tragedy starts with overlooked warnings. People convince themselves, "It won't affect me," or "I'll figure it out later." But by the time the consequences arrive, it is often too late to reverse the damage. The world does not reward optimism. It rewards vigilance, preparation, and critical thinking. The lesson is clear. Never ignore intuition, evidence, or subtle warning signs. Developing the ability to identify and act on red flags is not paranoia. It is foresight. Survival and success depend on your capacity to anticipate risks and protect yourself before the storm hits. Not every battle requires confrontation. Sometimes power is best exercised through silence. Observing, listening, and withholding information allows you to maintain control, gather intelligence, and prevent others from using your words or actions against you. In high-stakes environments, speaking without strategy can invite manipulation and loss. History is full of examples where silence preserved lives, careers, and empires. Leaders who mastered discretion often achieved greater outcomes than those who rushed to react or express their opinions. Silence is not weakness. It is a form of strength, patience, and tactical thinking that provides leverage over those who underestimate it. By mastering strategic silence, you protect your identity, prevent unnecessary conflict, and gain the upper hand in situations where impulsiveness could be costly. Awareness of when to speak and when to remain quiet is a skill that separates the exploited from the empowered. Every choice, no matter how small it seems, carries the potential to create ripples across your life. Decisions about who to trust, where to invest, or even what information to share online can unknowingly place you in risky or advantageous positions. The invisible threads of cause and effect magnify minor actions into life-altering outcomes. Many ordinary people find themselves entangled in scandals, financial traps, or dangerous situations simply because they underestimated the significance of their choices. The world is unforgiving to the unaware. What may feel like a harmless decision today could have irreversible consequences tomorrow. The key is mindfulness. By approaching every decision with awareness, evaluating potential risks, and considering long-term implications, you transform small choices into tools for protection and growth. Conscious living is not just wise. It's essential for survival in a world full of unseen forces. Trust is the foundation of relationships, yet it can also be your greatest vulnerability. In systems driven by hidden agendas and hidden profit, misplaced trust is often exploited. People who give trust without verification are frequently manipulated, deceived, or betrayed, with consequences far beyond what they imagined. From corporate espionage to personal betrayal, countless individuals have faced devastating outcomes due to blind trust. The world is not inherently malicious, but it is opportunistic. It rewards those who exploit trust and punishes those who offer it carelessly. Understanding the nuances of trust is critical to navigating relationships and systems safely. The solution is balanced skepticism. Trust should be intentional, conditional, and constantly evaluated. By learning to verify, question, and protect yourself while remaining ethical and empathetic, you maintain relationships without exposing yourself to unnecessary risk. Trust wisely, and power will no longer be wielded over you. Powerful systems rarely admit fault. Bureaucracies, corporations, and institutions are designed to protect themselves, often at the expense of justice or truth. When mistakes occur, accountability is shifted, narratives are manipulated, and those affected are left to absorb the consequences alone. This refusal to acknowledge errors perpetuates exploitation and undermines fairness. Ordinary people, employees, citizens, or consumers frequently bear the weight of these missed